Welcome back to Purpose-Filled Ambitious Podcast. Today we got Vaysia on the podcast. Super excited for this one. Vaysia, tell us a little about yourself and what you're doing right now.
So I'm a vocal performance major at the University of Missouri currently, and I'm working on my bachelor's in music. Other than that, I am part of a band. I work for different opera companies, work for a church in the Como area, and you can find my band's music on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, pretty much anywhere you want to listen, we're there. I can be found, like, my personal stuff is on YouTube and Instagram if you ever want to check out, just Vaysia.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, what was your initial thoughts when I asked you, "Hey, Vaysia, you want to be on the podcast?" Like, what do you think?
I was super excited because I wasn't expecting you to reach out, but pretty much that message came in and I was like, I'm gonna do this thing. This is gonna be so exciting. So definitely a ton of just joy knowing that I get to do this.
Have you followed the podcast at all? It's all right if you have not. What was your kind of favorite episode, favorite moment, any stuff like that?
So when the podcast was brand new, I remember watching the first few reels and like feeling really energized, knowing that there's this new outlet for the community to discuss their stories.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I've been following the podcast since the first reel when you had Caden and Ben and we're discussing things. And I just like that you give a space that gives different perspectives on like what people's ambitions are,
But yeah.
as well as it opens a door for others to learn kind of their own purpose in life
hmm
based on other people's stories. But yeah, I did not expect that I would have the opportunity to be on this podcast.
I appreciate you listening in and giving your feedback. That's really it means a lot to me. So let's kind of start from the beginning. Like, how did music become a part of your life?
I do not remember a time in my life where music wasn't absolutely, enveloping me. It's just always been an influence. My like earliest memories are musical. Like my dad and mom would sing to me. My great grandparents were in a band. It was just always around.
From a young age, like you just started singing and enjoyed singing and just loved every second of it, or is that how it went?
Yeah, kind of. When I was 6, I had my first recital, and it's just I realized at 6 years old that the feeling of performing was my favorite thing in existence. My first song that I ever did was Part of Your World, and I had the purple shell top and the sewn together mermaid tail by Grandma Deb.
Uh-huh.
It was just I knew from that moment when I was swinging my tail around,
That was it.
this
You were comfortable.
little me was like, I wanna sing.
And that's awesome. So you talk about 6 years old, you had a recital, like that's what started. Was there a point in your life where you're like, all right, like I want to take this serious. Like I want to put money into this. I want to invest into this. Like this is what I'm gonna do.
I had done musical theater growing up, and for a while in middle school and high school was convinced, "Oh, I'm gonna be in musical theater."
Uh,
Really, I've always wanted to pursue music since career day when we had to write our careers on a chalkboard. I knew I wanted to sing.
gotcha.
We wrote it down and I was like, gigantic letters. But I truly didn't know how much I was willing to invest until college. I feel
Gotcha.
like a lot of people figure out what their passion is in college. Like, younger me knew we're gonna be in music, but now I have an idea of where I'm wanting to go.
Gotcha. Yeah. And is that more like, man, I like going into college, I didn't really know the options, and now through college, I kind of figured out to just add different avenues, or how did that work out?
It's not that I have to choose a specific path. It's that I thought I did and instead have all these different avenues I can go.
Yeah.
Like being in my band and singing in an opera, joining a jazz ensemble, heading a choir, teaching even.
Uh,
and realizing, "Oh, I don't have to cut myself short. I can do all the things I wanted to do and not like be like, oh, you can only write pop songs and that's all you can do." And,
Yeah, that's
it's
good
really
stuff.
nice to have a bunch of different options.
Yeah, that's good. And I kinda talk a little bit about, like, personal branding in the podcast a little bit and, like, what that means, and just, like, hearing that just kinda shows me, like, it's everywhere, and, like, you're gonna have to promote yourself and, like, your audience to different people and stuff. So it's great, I mean, you're on the podcast, you're creating content already. So what does that kinda mean to you and, like, creating a business for yourself type of deal?
When it comes to performance, a lot of networking has to happen.
Yeah.
I am constantly meeting new people and getting new numbers and checking in. When it comes to my band, you meet people when you go to like, when you perform your shows. You get
Mhm.
on the stage and they're like, "Hey," maybe you meet a radio station that's like, "We wanna play your music," and now you're being introduced to a different type of audience than just social media. Let's say you meet different influencers, like, 'cause there's battles of bands, and so then you are competing against this other person, they like your music, you like theirs, and now you have a new connection, and they promote you on their social media. And when it comes to opera, you have your company's social media, you've got the people in your company. Let's say when I was hired for Landlocked Opera, I was given opportunities to do master classes with professionals in the KC Metro and the St. Louis Metro
Mhm.
and learn which ways I should audition, what type of resume to bring in, who you can email to check your resume before you go in. And you're constantly having coffee dates with random strangers, pretty much. It's just random people that you meet that you're like, I would like to have a connection with you and learn about your musical experience, about what your goals are, what drives you, the mistakes you made, the things that you're doing now. Pretty much what you facilitate with the podcast,
Yeah.
you also then do with these random people you meet, and you're like, "Okay, let's sit and have coffee, and I will listen to your story."
Yeah. Like, yeah, that actually, like, motivated me to do the podcast. I would, like, go and, like, talk with different people, like, over coffee or lunch or whatever, and it's like, "Why am I not, like, filming this?" Or, like, because like, I'm getting so much out of this. So, like, why am I actually not, like, doing something about it?
Exactly, exactly, and you give now with this podcast an opportunity for others to then have that same experience,
Yeah.
no matter the career they're in.
For sure, for sure. So, obviously, every journey has highs and lows. Like, what was your challenges you've kinda faced through your journey and things like that?
So, there is no end to imposter syndrome when you are a performer. There are gonna be days where you second guess yourself, and that I do that. I second guess myself and what I'm doing. Is it enough? What's the point? Am I good enough? But you still have to perform. You still have to get on the stage and be like, "Okay, I'm giving everything I've got. The show must go on," right?
Yeah, yeah,
But when I don't feel like I'm good enough, I reflect on my younger self.
yeah,
I'm really fortunate to have 3 younger siblings who are proud of me and push me to get things done and, like, feel good about myself, but it allows me to think about my younger self and how excited she would be. She'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be leads in operas? I'm gonna be hired to be a musician? I'm gonna be the lead in a rock band?" She would lose her mind over these things, and my favorite quote that I think about all the time when I'm down on myself is by Theodore Roosevelt. "Comparison is the thief of joy." As musicians, and especially as people, it is easy to compare yourself
yeah,
to others, but no one's on the same journey as you. It's just someone else may be accomplished in what they're doing. They may have done all of these different things. They could have been doing this since they were 6 and
uh-huh,
have, gone and made whatever career for themselves. But you're not on the same path. Your
yeah,
accomplishments don't have to be their accomplishments. Just because someone is accomplished, it doesn't give you permission to belittle what you've done and what you've accomplished.
yeah.
you're your own person. And when you face failure, you now have an opportunity to learn from it.
Yeah,
And that's what I have to do every time is when I'm like, okay, this didn't work out the way I wanted it to. But then I get to look at it and go, but that's okay because now I know for next time what works and what doesn't work.
for sure.
Especially us as young um, creators and influencers, we are building what we want to see in this world, and it's going to take time. And I feel like sometimes we don't realize how young we still are
Hmm.
to this societal everything.
Yeah.
We're still, in our 20s and our early 30s. You're still starting out in your career.
Mm.
You're going to make bigger waves later on. And trying not to, be like, I've got to get it all done now. And learning that is a big thing for me as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I think I've experienced the same thing. Like, there's just so much growth ahead. Like, if I'm not getting like dipping my toes in just different avenues of different things, like how am I supposed to learn type of deal. So yeah, that's good, and I'm glad you kind of touched on that. So you're just about to graduate in May, is that correct?
Yeah,
So what has that kind of time been like for you? Just like the anticipation of transitioning into the real world, and like what's that been like for you?
absolutely terrifying. So scary. It's so exciting, but at the same time, I am so aware of that graduate date just creeping up on me because there's a bit of security you have as a performer inside of a school of music. Once you are on your way out the door, you're auditioning already. You've already begun your audition process. You're looking at the different companies you want to audition for, the different connections you want to make. But then there's the idea of what if I don't have auditions? What if I don't get parts? What if I
Mhm.
don't get roles? What if I'm not hired in these spots? And it's like, does that mean that while all my friends who graduated with different degrees, hit the ground running, I have to wait?
Yeah.
You know, and trying to figure out what avenues you're gonna go down career-wise once you graduate as a musician is it's a bit daunting.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. And I think no matter what career you do, there's gonna be the what ifs and the doubts and things like this. But, like, I know for me going into business, I knew, like, I was getting myself into something super broad. It's like, I could do a lot with this. But within the music industry, like, I don't know a ton about it. Like, kinda talk us through, like, with your degree, what could you do? What are you looking at doing? Do you have a plan?
Yes, so when it comes to my next steps after graduating, I'm currently working on an album with my band, and so I will be pursuing that because it has to have time dedicated to it.
Yeah,
Because we get some amounts of money for like the EP, the singles, the performances we do. But when you do a full album, you have to invest a chunk of your own money, and it's nerve-wracking. You're like, and then when it comes to the next stages in opera, I'll be traveling to Italy with my choirs and seeing what the European side of singing in Europe would look like.
yeah,
There's something exciting about traveling and seeing where can I perform? What are the other opportunities, not just in the United States? But it's also, again, nerve-wracking because, like,
yeah,
well, do I wanna, commit this chunk of time away from my family, away from things like that? There's one thing that I'll be working on is auditioning for the KC Lyric Opera, St. Louis Lyric Opera, and the smaller community theaters even. But another thing as a musician is you have to have a plan for a second job because
okay,
no matter
yeah,
what, you're paying for resumes, you're paying for headshots, you're renting like a place to stay and live, and you have to be making money while also spending a lot of money. Let's say, they want me to audition in Chicago, or my agent wants me to travel to Nashville and audition for like some other music gig, I have to be able to fly myself out. So I have to have maybe what like a lot of musicians call a morning job.
Uh-huh.
All of your practice and your auditions and your rehearsal times are in the evening. Having a morning job is going to give you at least enough money to hit the ground running and get you the places you need to be.
Yeah, gotcha. And have you thought about what your morning job would look like or any fun ideas that you wanna do or just kinda
I have already received some emails and some messages about teaching different kids in the community, like doing vocal lessons again. Uh, However, I think I'll also probably have to, get myself a 9 to 5. Get myself like it's something that isn't maybe degree based. It has to be just a simple, you know, it might be a food working job. I
Yeah.
might be a waitress for a little bit. I might have to bartend. I really want to DJ, but those are some late nights, or if you're creating mixes, that could also be pretty rough.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's very give and take.
Gotcha, but you're not, like so you talked about, like, doing music lessons and, like, obviously DJ, stuff like this, like, do you is it hard, like, being in music 24/7, 365 for you, or is it like, "I need an outlet now," you just
Not for me. No, I still don't view it as the job. Every time that I have more free time in my day, like when the opera's over and all of a sudden I've got this chunk allotted to me, I just sit there being like, I wish the opera wasn't over. I wish I was practicing right now. I wish I was singing. And if I'm not in opera setting or in a rehearsal setting, usually I'm writing songs. And if I'm not writing songs and I'm listening to music, like, oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how inspired I am by Jeff Buckley. Like, that's just their music surrounds my life. I love music theory and learning. I'll be watching YouTube videos about music theory, or I'll listen to Mahler 2 and just deep dive into what does this mean? Who is Brahms? Who is Wolf? And get into the dark side of classical music. And then half the time I'm driving around being like, okay, I should study what these songwriters do so I can be like them. I do have other hobbies, I promise, but, because music is the passion, but it is a lot of people's hobby. I know for some of the professionals I've talked to, it does become a job. It becomes, "Okay, gotta get up, and I've gotta go do this thing, and, oh, I gotta perform again," and I mean, of course, I hope it doesn't turn into that for me, but realistically, I'm sure that I'm just in the honeymoon phase of my career.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So obviously, podcast is called Purpose Filled Ambitions, and you explaining like, man, like this really gives me purpose. Like I can do this all the time. And that's super cool. So run me through that and just how you find purpose in music and things like that.
So, growing up, music was my emotional outlet. It still is.
Mhm.
I'm also more mature and my frontal lobe is developing, things like but as a kid, it was hard to regulate my anger, like joy. I would just get very emotional and have these kind of spikes. And like Michael Jackson's Immortal CD, I
Mhm.
have vivid memories as a kid of like being angry and not knowing what to do, and then turning on like his different songs and just sitting there in my room being like, this calms me. This is, I love this. And then when I first saw a band perform, like my dad took me to see Coldplay, and I remember watching them on stage and being like, this makes me feel crazy ways. This is awesome. This
Huh.
is so excited. And I'm not, running around in a mad sprint like with my emotions. And I want to do that for other kids like me. I want to create music that they're like, this makes me feel better. Oh, this helps me. Oh, what if I sing? Is that an outlet? When I sing, I'm just like, oh, I get to release everything. I get to
Yeah.
go. This is like it's a freeing moment. And I just want to be able to not only create and show young people, like, this is something you can do,
Yeah.
and it's not unrealistic coming from, Midwest or smaller towns, things like that.
Mhm.
Also, you don't need to be famous. I wish that that was something that people talked about. Creativity, you don't have to be the next big thing. It's not like that. If you want to be, fine, then go pursue that. That's fine.
Yeah.
I personally like my privacy, but I want to be able to give everything musically that I can, whether that be teaching, whether that be showing off my like character in an opera, showing that I can do crazy things with my voice with my rock band. I feel like I was given this ability and I don't want to waste it. I want to use it all up, take care of it and work through it and be able to show others this is what you can do. And it's not easy, but you can do this.
That's fire, and it just shows, like, man, like, it shows just you talking about it and how much it inspires you and motivates you, like, that's just super cool to see for sure. So you reference your band quite a bit. Now let's just dive into it. Like, what's your band name, and talk to me about that.
So my band's name is Chronokinesis.
Okay.
So my band is filled with some grown men who are kind of comic book nerds.
Okay.
And chronokinesis is this superpower where you can warp time. And I think it's perfect in reference to music.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're doing, is we're creating this audible whatever in whatever warped tempo you want. I think that that is perfect, especially when it comes to, a prog alternative punk band.
Gotcha. And so, like, how did you get connected to this band, get connected to these people? Like, how was that process?
So, funny enough, I was connected to the bassist, CJ, through my friend, because she's like, I'm dating this guy and his band's looking for a singer. And I thought I'd ask you because I talk about you, I guess, too much. And he's like, you have an opera singer friend? See if she wants to be in a rock band. And then I, psyched myself out and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to audition for a rock band. And I remember the audition process was actually super simple. And I went in and I was like, what do you want from me? And they were like, well, let's see what your voice can do. And I did crazy runs. I showed them pretty much a few things and they were like, okay, cool. I heard nothing. And then I get a message from CJ being like, by the way, everyone is going nuts about your voice. At least in my opinion, you're about to be our lead singer. And that was all I heard. And then I was just in practices.
Nice. That's awesome. Alright, so now tell us about the album, name of the album if there's a name, and kinda what that, like, process went to about creating an album. I have no idea, and I guarantee the listeners have no idea there.
So the album does not have a name yet because we all have our own songs in it.
Okay.
We're all writing our own songs and it's all still very collaborative. Like I still write all pretty much the vocal melodies, but like the lyrics are all different for whoever song it is, whatever, our main instrument usually influences how we write it.
Uh,
But it doesn't have a title yet.
gotcha.
But we have all the songs like written out, the type of song we want. It's like a board. A few of our band members are very analytical and they're like, okay, so these are the next steps. And then half of us, I mean me, are a bit scatterbrained. And so we go into the, album writing process and it's like, you guys want to have a jam session? We'll just make it up as we go right now. But the album we're hoping will come out in July. Now, we have done crazy sprint projects in the past, like with our EP, we had a few songs already finished where we were like, okay, we know what's going to be on this EP. But then, like the others that we were still kind of in the process of writing, we knocked them out. Like we were super fast with it. And I feel like that's going to be the end of this album. We've got a few songs where they are so solid. I'm sitting there being like, we should just start performing again right now, even though that's not realistic. And then there's other ones where it's like, okay, so that one still needs drums, that one still needs bass. We're still trying to write a ballad, you know?
Yeah.
And the biggest thing with writing an album is it's so fun. It's so fun.
Mhm.
There's, I was expecting to be stressed out by this process, but I come into practice the whoever wrote whatever song has an idea of what they want. So then most of the time they go, Vaysia, here's your lyrics. And I go, okay, cool. And I'm reading them out and they're like, you get to make up the melody. And I'm like, okay. And we start by kind of, they'll play what they already know.
Okay.
And I improv on top of that. And it's always based in the format of prog rock, punk rock, alternative, whatever they're wanting for their song, I go, okay, I know all of these different genres and I know what is kind of the stereotypical way of vocalizing with it. And I will then choose a vocal line that I'm like, okay, this suits the genre that they want for their song. Um, there there are a few songs we've worked through where the meanings behind them are beautiful and gorgeous,
Uh-huh.
but who knows if our audience is going to hear the lyrics and hear what we've created and think the same thing as us.
Yeah.
I know that we would do a cover of 3 Days Grace. I Hate Everything About You. And so we're pretty much creating our own like song right now and it's that one's mine, which is kind of weird. And creating that process of me creating my own song with the band, which I haven't done that yet. This is brand new, me having a song with the band. I've written many a melody, I've written some of the words, but having a full on, okay, I need the drums to sound like this, the guitar is gonna sound like that, this is what I'm envisioning is a whole new thing. I've recorded on my own stuff, but the band stuff is a little I'm like, "Is this gonna fit? Is this work?" So far, the process of creating it all and being like, "Oh, okay. I just have to be willing to put myself out there."
Mhm.
Got it. 'Cause if you're nervous in practice, nothing gets done.
Yeah.
Just kinda sit there and you get stuck in that, like, s space of, "Well, you could do this if you want to." No one knows what we're just standing there doing our own thing, and they're like, "Well, do you want this?" And I'm like, "No, no, not that."
Yeah.
And then it gets done. But if you come in with a plan and you're ready to, enforce what you are wanting, then things get done. Like our lead guitarist, Charlie, he comes in with his songs and he's like, Beja, these are the lyrics. I want you to start singing there. I want this, this, and this. And I was like, nailed it. And then he looks at the drummer and he's like, Bradley, you need to make sure that you're hitting the hi-hat here. And Charlie knows exactly what he wants. And Charlie has more songs because of it. Charlie comes in and he's like, I wrote this song. This is what I want. And we're all like, when did you have time? When did you have time to plan all this out? But yeah,
That's
it's
cool.
it's a very fun process and they're wonderful people, so I get to just it's just like a hangout and then all of a sudden we're making music.
Yeah, it sounds like a super cool atmosphere and just fun to be around for sure. You talked about like, hey, like we have an idea of what we want to do with this song, but is it gonna like touch the audience in the way that you plan to? So a next question I had for you, is there a lyric or song that stands out to you and why does? And this could give you the opportunity to like explain like this is the thoughts behind the song.
It's a bit tricky.
Okay,
We've
okay.
got we've got multiple songs that I just love. My personal song, well, it's very silly. So there's different we're all very short. There's different tall people that we have been wronged by in our lives. And so we created a very funny, comical, edgy rock like song.
Uh-huh.
And it's supposed to kind of the chorus is like talking about how some people romanticize height.
Yeah.
And it's very silly.
But yeah.
But the way that the lyrics are shaped make it so it sounds like it's a bit of a hate-filled piece, so it fits the rock. Like, it's just I find it very funny because, of course, I'm the one writing it,
Uh-huh.
and when I'm going through this process of, "Should I put that down?" It's like when you grow up and people are like, "Well, curse words are just words," and you're like, I put down bad words." And, especially in a rock band, we have songs where they're like, "Well, we wanna play this on our radio station, but it has" like, "Okay, heard," and so it's trying to get points across without cursing,
Yeah.
without doing things that are, we want anybody to be able to listen to these and not feel like, "Oh, it's about something promiscuous, it's about something." We want it to be, fun and easy
Yeah.
to listen to and touch different communities and not just sit in one realm of very adult and very rock. And, as for specific lyrics, I very much resonate with one of Charlie's songs. Let me see if I can pull up these lyrics so I can actually quote something.
You're good.
Charlie wrote this, and we call it SOS. It's a beautiful piece. There are moments where we kind of get stuck in the same viewpoint. We're focused on one thing, and we're focused on, like, maybe we want it so bad, and so we're not willing to give it up.
Mhm.
We're just you're stuck, and you can't get out of this place,
Gotcha.
and then you shift how you're viewing it. You have a shift of sight, and his song and the way that it dives into, "This is up to you. You can do this." And
Mhm.
how it's, you know, influenced me in these ways, and I think it's time for me to change in whatever way I need to. And there's one part where it says, "I know my purpose hasn't changed, but every path I take gets rearranged." And it is very rhymey, but in my mind, it's kind of that, "Well, I think I'm meant to do this thing. I'm meant to do this thing," and then all of a sudden you notice, I can do any of these all of these things."
Yeah.
You are not stuck in just one spot where you have to be one thing, and this song, it isn't like any of the songs we've written before. And it's got funky rhythms here, it's got me belting out high notes on a different part. It's got multiple build-ups, which I find amazing, and then lyrics that talk about, "You don't have to be like anybody else."
Yeah.
I'm just like, "This is perfect." All just aligns. And so, definitely that song, lyric-wise, is wonderful. I'm so excited for that one.
Awesome.
SOS.
That's awesome. I mean, just listening to it and hearing your thoughts on it, I'm excited to hear this new album. And so, kind of next thing, like, how can people support you? How can people find this album? Obviously, it's not till July, so we'll
Yeah.
be anxiously waiting. But like, what do you stream on? Talk about that a little bit.
We stream on all listening platforms.
Good, good, good.
You are set. If you have Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify, of course. But half the time we have lyric videos on YouTube, so
Cool,
you're
cool.
set. But we do have an Instagram and a Facebook, which is terrifying. Chronokinesis. I need to spell this. I apologize.
Yeah. We'll throw it in the chat or something.
Good, 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 good. Kinesis is it's just Chronokinesis Band in Instagram and on Facebook. And we are posting updates when we can because
Okay.
all of us are either we have a band member like working on his doctorate and like
Wow.
others that is a nurse and everybody's very, very busy and
Oh,
working
yeah.
on their outside career. So we post when we can and give updates pretty continuously. And it'll be more information about the album will come when we get closer and closer to the date, of course. And any of our show updates will always be on that Instagram and on that Facebook.
Perfect. Perfect. I'm excited.
I am too.
We're gonna kind of like wrap it up here soon. I got a few rapid fire questions for you just to end it off with a bang. Here we go. Who's an artist you are obsessed with right now?
So I want to promote Remy Wolf. She's incredible. And then Ireland's top artist, Orla Gartland. Both of these women are phenomenal. They have created music that is not only new to the scene, but also new because they're recreating how we view certain genres. Remy Wolf has amazing mixes. Orla Gartland is a phenomenal storyteller. Both of these women are just something to watch, man. Yeah,
And what's one thing you're learning about yourself in this season of life?
that's hard. I guess I'm learning that I can do it, you know? Going through 4 years of school, a lot of the time you're just like, well, I'll get there, I'll get there, I'll get there, and now I'm here. And I'm learning that not only am I capable and skilled and able to do these things, but I am about to. Like I've done the work. I
Yeah,
can do
it's a
this.
good feeling. It's a good feeling. So, if you could say one thing to a young artist coming up, what would it be?
The main thing that I would want to talk about with any young artist, it will not be easy to pursue music. Not only is it something where arts is already something that is any career in the creative industry is going to be a little bit difficult. And trying to become a musician and especially depending on the type of musician you're wanting to be. Let's say you want to be a pop artist. That's going to be a little bit trickier, and that's just the truth. But there are so many avenues for you to
Mhm.
create. Don't neglect the importance of musical history, musical theory, things that will teach you, the basics and what people have already created. But also, if you want to just create for you, then do it.
Mhm.
There's no one that can truly stop you from just creating. If there are things that you want to share, create. If there are things that make you feel passionate, create. I feel that there are so many young people, like students that I give lessons to. They're like, well, "That wasn't very good," and I'm like, "Anyone can sing. Anyone can sing. Any person." I mean, you've heard artists that write songs that, truthfully, your ear hears it, and you're like, "That person can't sing." Anyone can sing. Anyone can make music. So make music. I think that that is something where people truly, and if you don't think you're a singer, guess what? They've got instrumental ballads. You don't think that you're a singer and you don't play an instrument, you can download a DAW and start creating, EDM. You don't think you're a singer, then start doing loops. You can create and create and create. And there are so many things, especially with technology, at your fingertips.
Oh, yeah.
So my main thing is if you want to create something musically, then do it.
Mhm.
Put yourself out there. Don't hold yourself back.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Well, I think that's all the time we got. I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Man, it was good stuff. Excited to air this one for sure.
I'm so thankful that I got to do this. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I'm really, really glad that I could at least share a little bit of my story. But, follow me on my social media. I'm Vaysia, Vaysia, selfless plug. And, listen to Chronokinesis because I think we're awesome. My mom likes us too.
Alright, thank you, everyone, we'll catch you next episode.